Hello, I'm Pastor Matthew Verhoeg, and this is a sermon in 3 minutes. Today in Luke's Gospel, we've arrived at chapter 10, verse 38. This is the story of Mary and Martha. This occurs directly after the parable of the Good Samaritan, which is important, and we'll get to that later. So Jesus goes to Martha's house. She's a single, mature lady in charge of a household, and Martha is hosting Jesus and maybe his 12 disciples. I like to think of this like Bilbo Baggins hosting the dwarves. Now, we have this contrast between Mary the listener and Martha the doer. Verse 39. And she had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching, but Martha was distracted with much serving. So, what's Jesus going to commend? The person sitting there doing nothing, or the person who's working so hard to do a good thing? Hospitality is commanded by God. Luke 10:40 says, "And she went up to him, to Jesus, and said, 'Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her to help me then.'" This is almost a stereotypical sister rivalry. We have the mature older sister doing all the work and the young immature sister who just wants to have fun. But Jesus uses this situation to illustrate a point that is so critical for us to understand. But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her." Mary has chosen the good portion. This phrase is reminiscent of so many psalms like Psalm 119:57. "The Lord is my portion. I promise to keep your words." Martha is so busy working to please the Lord that she's missing out on the Lord himself. We need to realize that the greatest portion we could have in this world is Jesus. He is our portion and our prize. Now, this story stands in direct contrast to the parable of the Good Samaritan. And it's vital for keeping our religious practice in balance. The Good Samaritan is about how godly people must love the stranger, love people in a way that is costly and crosses racial boundaries. And that kind of love is necessary to follow Christ in the world. But if we put what we do first before what Jesus has done for us, we're going to be drowned in anxiety and worry. Because when have you ever loved enough? The answer is you haven't. Mary is an example in this story. She's a woman who doesn't even say a word. All she does is receive from Jesus. The lesson to Martha and to us is that we don't need to do. We don't need to serve to be right with God. What we need to do is receive from Jesus. This is the gospel. That Jesus is the one who came to give, and all we need to do is sit in his feet and listen. He is the one necessary thing. Now this joy in Christ will transform us to be the kind of people who love like the Good Samaritan. But we need to start with the fact that Jesus is all we need. And in that, we can be free from anxiety and then serve not to be loved by God, but because we know we are loved by God.